Hello everyone again. Today I want to talk about my Akai360D reel-to-reel machine. So I purchased this unit off of eBay, and because I like the design of it, the real vintage look of it, the interesting VU meters, and some of the functionality. For example, this has a auto reverse, and it has you have the ability to set a kind of timer so that the reel plays only for a certain amount of time, or really feet, and then it will reverse itself. And you also have the ability to play in reverse. So it plays in reverse, it doesn't record in reverse, but that's not a big deal on this because I didn't really purchase this to make any recordings on. My goal with this was just to use as a for simulating digital audio playback using these old vintage tape decks. So it took quite a while to get it working because these old machines have a lot of issues with the components inside. There's something called a spark suppressor in there. It's essentially a capacitor and a resistor, and those burn out. So if you are on eBay and you want to purchase one of these things, make sure you have the talent to fix it. Otherwise, I guarantee you it will work fine for about an hour, and then yes, you will take a smell like something burnt out, and it's definitely one of those spark suppressors or aux suppressors in there that went bad. And they are a lot of work to change out because you have to take apart the entire machine, solder a lot of wires, solder the wires back on. So yeah, not for the faint of heart. And at the end, if you want something that has great audio quality, there are much better reel-to-reel machines on eBay that's newer. But I mean, I enjoyed fixing this one. It was so nice looking at the internals and seeing only relays and solenoids, and there's no ICs anywhere in this. And yet it accomplishes all of this. You have the timer function, auto reverse function. You also have the ability to automatically set the record level, all done through clockwork, and relays, solenoids, and so forth. So, but for me, again, I was also interested in this deck because you had the ability to hook up a remote to it. Now, the remote for this is obviously a wired remote that just replicates this button on maybe a 16-foot cord. So very simple, very easy to build a remote. And so I was able to replicate it in with this T-Relay module from LilyGo. Essentially, these relays replicate these buttons, and it wasn't difficult to build, wasn't real difficult to wire up, and it worked. The only issue I ran into is the pinout. For example, when we look at the service manual on the pins, we could see the counting goes is counterclockwise, which is what we expect. However, this is a view from inside the deck. When you're looking from the outside, it's the opposite. So it took me a little while to figure that out, and fortunately, nothing burnt out again when I connected it the wrong way. But once I figured out that counting is from counterclockwise, so you have pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hooked it up correctly, I got the remote working. So how does a remote work? Let's take a look. So I'm using this serial terminal app. This is not something I wrote. All you do is to modify the buttons with the commands you want in there. So all the commands, all that's part of the Arduino sketch, which I'll put a link to. So let's see. Let's try fast forwarding. Works great. Stop. Works. Play. Reverse. And reverse play also works. The only functionality that I wasn't able to add was record, but had nothing to do with the limitations of the relay or the deck itself. All had to do with the limitations of the cable I had in-house to connect. I only had a 9-conductor instead of a 10-conductor cable, which you need to implement everything. But not having record is not a big deal because I certainly don't plan to do a lot of recordings off of this deck. Yeah, so worked well, remote worked well, and so forth. So what's the big deal of having a remote for these things versus just using the buttons on there? Honestly, not much value. The key reason I wanted a Bluetooth remote is to integrate it in with my other 4 decks. So what happens with these old electromechanical devices, you have to run them on a regular basis. You know, I have 5 of them now. So what I did, I was like connected all 5 of them through Bluetooth remotes. Almost all of them I built myself. So now the computer manages all of that. So the computer tells all of them to play for 1 hour forward, 1 hour backwards, and that way I know once a week or so I turn all of them on and I let the computer do all the give them a workout. So it works out very well, and it saves you the trouble having to use aluminum foil to because this one has a sensor in there. So if you put a piece of aluminum foil in it, it would switch back the other way. But using the computer and the Bluetooth remote is just a lot easier, a lot more flexible for that kind of work.
And if you take my life in hand,